It's football. I mean, pressure does things to people. We're only human. Big moments, big occasions. And again, he was just finding his rhythm in the game. You could see he was starting to boss it. But I think there was a few things went a little bit unnoticed, a few after the balls, and he was carrying something there. So, look, we're a brotherhood. We'll live and learn. We got a little bit humbled tonight with the result. It's what we needed. This is part of the learning process.
That, again, John Herdman talking about Mark Anthony Kaye's red card. And I think what he's saying essentially is there was stuff going on that we didn't see. Obviously, there was a bit of a red mist, I think, kicked in for Mark Anthony Kaye. And, I mean, that does happen. I just, I'm not going to turn this into, I'm not going to turn it into Mark Anthony Kaye bashing. Because, quite frankly, I thought Canada actually played better when they went down to 10 men. But that is, I heard people were saying, boy, you got CONCACAF. That happens all the time. And if you're going to be a country that is serious about its national soccer team, you do have to develop the capacity to look at your players and say, that guy screwed up. It's not always. Saeed Martinez did not have it out for Canada in that match.
No. Yeah, I think this is something that we've admired about this team over the course of this campaign is they've been above getting CONCACAF, right? All the moments that you would look at and say, oh, that's something where an individual might have gone overboard there and cost his team. Canada hasn't done that. And so, you think about the stakes of this moment. Everyone's just a little extra revved up. And obviously with Mark Anthony Kaye, it got the better of him. I think back to the first match that Canada played in this qualifying campaign against Honduras and all the build-up there was, and we maybe didn't see the best of them, and they draw 1-1. So there's a little bit of that at play, and like Herdman said, they'll learn from it, and they'll be better for it.
A couple of talking points out of the match before James Sharman joins us. One, we said yesterday, Vivek, when we were talking about Costa Rica, first of all, they are on a roll. They are an informed team. Maybe the best team in CONCACAF right now after Canada. Playing the best.
Form-wise, yeah. You can make
in
that
terms
argument.
of form. And we also mentioned the impact of Keylor Navas. Now, Canada hit post after post and crossbar after crossbar, but there were a couple of decisions made by Keylor Navas that just, to me, just showed, like, when you get to this level, you can tell when a player, especially a keeper, has played at the highest level of the game, which he has. He's getting old now, but at one point he was one of the very best keepers in the world. His decision making, I think, on a couple of those plays, the one I can't remember who it was for Canada, where he charged out of the goal and basically just kind of threw his body sideways and just took a potential shot away. It might have been Jonathan David. He made a difference, even though Canada hit posts and crossbars. I thought he really made a difference to Costa Rica.
He was huge, and you can just see the way that team rallies around him. As a defender, depending on the level of your goalkeeper, you know how much work you're in for that night. And you could see that there was sort of this understanding that, hey, certain things Keylor Navas is just going to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
We take care of our A, Bs, and Cs. Keylor Navas will take care of the rest. We don't have to worry about that. There's other goalkeepers, like the last time Canada played Costa Rica, and you're saying, hey, we got to take every shot away because we can't take any risks here. And that wasn't the case on this night. Obviously, a little bit of luck plays into it with the post, the crossbar, and, for whatever reason, it's in the stars for Sunday to be a party, and that's what it'll be.
Canada absolutely bossed the game, I would say, from probably the 55th minute on, down 10 men. I think in a lot of ways, in the final 20 minutes of that match, Vivek, just with Kone coming on and with Junior Hoylett being introduced, there were so many. Canada didn't score, and I think John Herdman's right. That was one of those matches. You could have played that match for 5 hours, and there was going to be a crossbar or a post. I mean, there just was. That at some point you just throw your hands up and go, it really isn't in the cards.
Yeah.
But I thought that was one of the most. They may have had one of their most impressive 15-minute spells of this qualifying.
And that's
in the second half. They owned the ball.
Yeah, they were in complete control, and that's football for you, right? You can play like the superior team. You can create all these chances, and if it doesn't go in the net, the score is not always going to be reflective of the performance. And so I think if you're Canada, you look at that second half down to 10 men, and the way they just bossed that match. I think that's the Canada that we've seen over the course of this campaign, and they all take full confidence in that heading into the Jamaica fixture.
Yeah, they were really helped too. Costa Rica really, really played defensively. They went to a 4-4-1-1, I believe, and you could tell by the crowd. You could tell that the crowd was getting anxious. And that, we talk about how different this Canadian team is. That is right. There have been a lot of years where Canada would go down to a Central American country, and the crowds would not be anxious. 1-0 up in Canada, and you've got the match, and that was not the case. There were a lot of anxious moments for Costa Rica. So I think on balance, John Herdman, it would have been great to wrap it up. It's going to be even more fun to do it in Jamaica or against Jamaica, et cetera, et cetera. But I think really when he sits back and looks at that game, Vivek, he's going to come away saying there was some growth there. We didn't score, but there really was some growth there. And we've got to at least mention Ishmael Kone, who comes on and immediately, it's like the ball finds him. Mm-hmm. And he's completely happy with that. And we've seen Canadian players who it's not always the case where the ball finds them and they're happy with it. We got a little snippet of what he can bring to this team. And he might be that, kind of search for that number 10-ish kind of guy. He might end up being that guy.
And we talk about the stakes. We talk about the atmosphere that they were coming into. And a 19-year-old to come in and say, yeah, I'll have a bit of this. And he looks in complete control. Looks like he's been doing this for the past decade. Doesn't look out of place at all. And you're right. He's picking the pass exactly where, sending the ball exactly where it needs to go. And it's exciting. It's exciting when you think about this core group that's in their early 20s and what they're going to be able to do for hopefully the next decade.
Atiba Hutchinson started at center back for Canada for the first time, I think, since 2019. Stephen Vittoria was out. Daniil Henry was suspended. I think the absence of some of the Canadian defenders was revealed in the set pieces. If Costa Rica was going to win that game, they were going to win it in a set piece. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They were very, very good. Atiba Hutchinson, again, put in a real shift for this team. And he was asked about the second half that Canada turned in against Costa Rica. This is the skipper, Atiba Hutchinson.
A lot. It shows a lot of this team. We have a lot of belief in each other. We trust each other. We know what we're capable of, and we just wanted to, turn things around in the second half. We were just unfortunate to not get that goal, as I said. But just there's so many positives with it. A lot of players playing at a very high level. We had a player who came on, Ismail, his debut, and very confident on our ball, and gave a lot to the team. But yeah, we'll work at doing what we need to do, putting the ball in the back of the net, and I'm sure it'll be a different game when we go home in front of our fans. We'll be ready for that.
The job that Atiba Hutchinson did in that position, again, not center back for the first time since 2019 for Canada at least. In a couple of instances, he tracked back. He saved Mian Borjan one time. Now there was some confusion in a couple of instances as well. But we talk about Atiba Hutchinson all the time. But the amount of ground he covered with them down a man at that age, he really is a remarkable athlete. He just is.
To be down to 10 and for Herdman to have the luxury to say, hey, we'll just stay with the three back and we'll have Atiba just control things. And, initially for those couple minutes where you saw him go from the 4-4-2 to the 3-5-2, you could see that extra option for Atiba was making a big difference. Probably a clunky first 20 minutes, but then after that, they really seemed to find their groove with that 3-5-2 formation.
I think you almost expected that. Didn't you? You started 4-4-2, but didn't you almost expect 5 minutes into the match? I'm looking at what's going on. I'm thinking it's only a matter of time before they switch.
Yeah.
You just had to.
Yeah. And for Atiba, again, that long ball that comes over his head, he misreads it. But to hustle back and make life at least as difficult as possible for Joel Campbell, where he can't get a clean shot off and Milan Borjan can make the save. That shows the commitment level. That shows, as you said, the fitness. And again, you've got Atiba Hutchinson sacrificing for the team playing center back. Let's talk about Richie Laryea.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy can't get on the bench right now at club level at Nottingham Forest.
Right.
And he shows up and looks like the best player on the pitch, controlling that left side, just mazing his way through everyone. I mean, that was a clinic.
That's as I was watching that match, we talked a little bit off the air, and I mentioned about I just wish he had a little more finish in close. I don't mind him taking the shot from the distance because we saw what he can do with it. But watching that match, I thought if Canada is going to tie it, it's coming from that side. Look, Tejan Buchanan was great. Jonathan David, Kyle Aaron. I thought Junior Hoylett really immediately came on and was just sublime in the difference he made. But I honestly thought it was coming down that side. Somehow it was either going to originate in that side or somehow it was going to fall to Richie Laryea and he was going to score. You just had that sense that that's where it was going to come from.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, you could just see he was making it look like a cakewalk. The ease with which he was just getting by everyone, you would think he was playing match in, match out every week at club level and coming in riding that form. That wasn't the case.